Hi, everyone. This is MFSN, the Hub's Q&A with Dr. Dan Ratner, and that would be me. So I'm looking in the chat. We already have some questions lined up. Let's see. First question from Casey. All right, I have a question. That's the way many questions begin. What are your thoughts on Rui Hachimura? One of my favorite sushi dishes. No, this is a player. So let's figure out Rui Hachimura. Now, this is somebody, what I'm going to do actually when you guys do ask questions is I'm going to take you through how I think about it. So I'm looking on Yahoo. I look him up as a player. I see that he's actually owned by Casey. So we play in the same league together. So I'm looking, Casey's probably asking this question because he wants to know, should I keep him? So the first thing that comes up is season average stats, but I actually like to look at season total, and there's a reason for that because season average can be very misleading. And I sometimes like to look at the last 14 days, but I'm going to first look at the season total. Let's see. Okay, so he's ranked 215, so I understand why this question would be asked, because this question is, should I hang on to him? But I'm going to see how he's been doing in the last 14 days. That's usually the measurement I like to take. 156, so he's getting better. And 95 points. Okay, so now I'm going to pop in to see his game log. I just want to see more specifically.
This is your voice of God speaking, Dan. Did you hear me, Dan?
Oh my
God.
Anthony,
your social media guy.
God is speaking to me, yes. Wait, God is named Anthony?
Don't tell anyone. I just wanted to call your attention to a particular question from Purple, PRPLE in the chat. Should I trade Christian Wood for Sabonis?
Christian Wood for Sabonis. That is a great question. Okay, so we're going to need to look at the two, see how they're doing. Give me a second. I mean, I know they're both really good players. Christian Wood ranked 20th overall in Yahoo and average stats, but in total stats, let's see what the difference is there. 52. He's got 163 points. He's a block. He's getting a lot of blocks. Free throw percentage is 719. And Sabonis. I was high on both of these players coming into the season. Wow, you couldn't pick much more even players. Smart question. Okay, so this is going to depend on what you need. Sabonis is not getting the blocks that Wood is. So if you need a block guy, you probably want to go for Wood. But in terms of rebounds, I'm going to look at what they've been doing the last 14 days, actually. Can't believe God is named Anthony. That's shocking. Okay, Sabonis has 91 rebounds and 149 points in the last 14 days. Wow, I didn't realize he's been that good. This is something that you find out when you're doing these kind of things. You find out how good certain players are, because a lot of times you're zeroed in on your team, especially players that are owned. You're not paying as much attention to. Christian Wood has 114 points in the same amount of time, but he's got the 10 blocks. So it really is going to come down to what you need. If you need the blocks, I think you go with Wood. But if you
Purple says category league, by the way.
It's a category league. Okay, so, I want to ask them a question. When they say category league, do they say category league or 9 category league or 8 category league? 8 category league means you're not playing with turnovers. 9 cat is with turnovers. And if you're just saying category league, I'm not actually totally sure what that would mean. Man, Sabonis is just killing it on rebounds. I got to say, if I had to choose one of the two rest of season, I would choose Sabonis in a vacuum. But Wood's a great player. And if you need the blocks, I'd probably go with him. Okay, let's get back to Hachimura and whether we should keep him. Don't worry, Casey, I haven't forgotten. I'm heavily leaning towards no. I just don't see that he's doing enough, and there's a lot of good players. Oh, but he actually had a really good week last week. So I'm going to go into the game log and see what's up. When I click
Purple says with TO turnovers?
With TO is turnovers in a 9 category league. I still say Sabonis is Sabonis has the safer floor. I would say Wood has more upside, but Sabonis is really showing he's one of these explosive players that was underrated. If you picked him, that was a very smart pick. Wood was a great pick also, but Sabonis was even more underrated. If you want to know more about it, let me know. Let's see. Hachimura starting to score. Wow. His minutes are up too. Casey, I'd probably hold Hachimura for another week and see how he does. He seems to be rounding into form. He's getting minutes between 25 and he had up to 37 one game. That can be kind of situational, but he's getting some rebounds. He's getting some steals. He's not an ideal player, I think, to have, so I would want him to improve if I'm going to keep him. But I'd keep him another week. All right, another question. How do you manage the new COVID guidelines when evaluating players? How much do you consider COVID when looking at your waiver wire? Not enough, and I'll tell you why. Because I just picked up Maxi Kleber and found out he had COVID, and I didn't even know. So listen, you can say you're a fantasy expert like I do, and I'm very good at the game, but you're going to make mistakes sometimes, and there's only so much time that you can research everything. Maxi Kleber is a guy, actually, this is what I came to. When I picked him up and I was like, oh my God, he has COVID. I was like, what am I doing? And then I realized if I owned Maxi Kleber and he got COVID, I wouldn't cut him. So actually, it's not always a bad idea to pick up a player who has COVID. Their value is down right then. That's when you can get them. What I don't like is that, at least in my league, there isn't a setting where COVID can be an injured player. I really think they should make that designation this season. It's really tough on teams. So I will say this: if you've got a fringe guy like Hachimura, for example, if he got COVID, I'd cut him immediately. But if it's a guy who's going to rank 60 and above, I'd probably keep him anyway, maybe even pick him up. Okay, next question. What is your view on punting a category in head-to-head leagues? Is there a category you usually target to punt? I never set out to punt anything. Punting a category means you're totally giving up on it. And usually that's because of team makeup. If my whole team is terrible at free throws, then I might say, all right, great. Well, then I'm going to go pick up DeAndre Jordan and Dwight Howard and all these guys who can't hit free throws at all, but are going to give me big numbers in field goal percentage and rebounding and blocks and hopefully some scores there also, though the players that I mentioned there are not scorers so much. If I had to pick a target to punt, though, it would be one of the percentages. The percentages are very varied. From week to week, you can win or lose those categories and think that that's not what's going to happen. Hold on, we have another question coming in, and then I want to get back to the punting argument. From Ross, is Kyrie Irving's value worth anything? Okay, well, obviously we know Kyrie Irving has been in the news. It is not the first time that he's done very strange things. I am a Cavs fan, so I will be forever indebted to him for hitting that three against Golden State and for all the other things that he did that made that happen. He is currently ranked the number one player in the league on average. But, when you pull up the update on him, he's away for personal reasons. And a date for his potential return has yet to be finalized. That scares the crap out of me. That's not the kind of player that I would love to own. But listen, if you drafted him, you're holding on to him for now. First of all, he has an injured designation, so you can just plug him into your injured. If you have those roster spaces, just plug him in there. You don't want to lose him because he could come back at any point in time and be really valuable. And I hate to say it because I think society, we got to value the right things. So Kyrie doing what he did, I certainly don't condone. But fantasy basketball and fantasy sports are a nasty game. You want any advantage you can get. So I say you keep him on the bench. Even if you could trade for him with some back end player and just get him in your injured roster, I would do it. So I wouldn't say that his value is zero at all, but you need to know that it could end up being that. To me, my gut feeling is Kyrie Irving does these kinds of things and then he comes back. So I expect him to come back and actually finish strong. He's just a weird dude. He thinks the earth is flat. Or it's not even clear whether he does, but he keeps saying it. I can't tell if he's just a joker or if he's insane. Anyways, back to punting categories. if I'm going to punt a category, it's usually when I find out my team is terrible in field goal percentage or is, not that good in free throw percentage, because those are the ones that are kind of hard to make up. And sorry, I'm managing two computers at once. Oh, there's a picture of me on there. Those are the categories that you can really recognize whether your team matches up well with itself. If you've got a bunch of middling guys in both percentages, I wouldn't punt those. But look, if you end up with a lot of guards and you're low in rebounds, if you end up with a lot of guards, your field goal percentage is going to be less and your free throw percentage will go up. So this is another thing. I wouldn't punt a category in head-to-head leagues in the regular season, but in the playoffs, I absolutely would, because you need to win 5-4 in head-to-head leagues to win your matchup. It doesn't matter how much you win your matchup by. Some people like to win their matchups 8-1 or 7-2 and say, I humiliated the guy. But for me, that doesn't matter so much. It's just in the playoffs, it's just you win and you move on. Actually, I just realized we need to go to our sponsor. It is Killcliff. Here we go.
Everyone is happy with the new flavor of Killcliff CBD Strawberry Days. It's clean energy. Makes your days more pleasurable by infusing strawberries right into your drink hole. Look at Sally. Her drink hole is happy. Way to go, Sally. Get the world of tomorrow today at killcliff.com. The biggest no-brainer in the history of drinks.
Delicious. They have some great commercials. That made me feel very calm. It was like 1950s. Felt like everything was okay, not like now where everything's insane. Anyways, I would punt 2020 if I could. All right, let's see. What questions do we have going? Is Gary Harris worth a pickup? I've been wondering that myself. That was from Lauren. Lauren, let me see. Is Gary Harris worth a pickup? Okay, well, here's the numbers I'm looking at that make me wonder if maybe he is. He's averaging 31 minutes, over 31 minutes a game. His field goal percentage is fine. His free throw percentage is fine. He hits a three-pointer a game. He's got kind of middling stats otherwise, but he does steal one a game. That's actually what makes him most interesting, is that he's not going to hurt you in categories, but he also steals one a game. But now I need to look deeper at the numbers. He's only ranked 154 in Yahoo. He does have shooting guard and small forward eligibility, so I do like that. Let's see. Okay, game log. Hurry up, computer. I don't have time for this. Okay, wow, he's got a lot of minutes going on. His points are going up. His steals are going up. Okay, so now this is going to make me go back and check what has he been doing the last 14 days and the last 7 days. That's what I want to see. Oh, 165. Why are his numbers so low when they looked good in that? Let me look at. Aha! In the last 7 days, he's been a total beast. Okay, so I think Gary Harris is worth a back-end pickup, but he's the kind of guy that you might end up cutting. He's also the kind of guy who you might end up keeping, and those are the two options. But the reason I'm saying that is if you look, so when I'm deciding whether to pick somebody up, I'm going to look at what they did last year also. Okay, last year he ranked 162 in Yahoo. He had some good parts of the season, so he might be one of these guys that you pick up as kind of the hot hand. I would not keep him for long though if he's struggling. Okay, we have a question from Kels22. How do you feel about Nurkic? I haven't known him long, so we're early in our relationship, but no, I'm kidding. Nurkic, he worries me in all honesty. I had him last year, and obviously he was injured a lot of last year, but he can be really valuable. I don't want to say he worries me like I wouldn't want to own him, but we do need to figure out what's wrong with him. Let's look at what happened last year. What did he do last year in the time that he played? It wasn't much, but he did play some. Okay. Well, he had the minutes going. His numbers looked good. Yeah, I mean, he looked really good in the time that he played. Here, let's look at the season average from last year. Yeah, see, he ranked 34th. So this is not a guy that you want to. This is not a guy you want to cut.
Yeah, Ross is saying dump him.
What was that, Anthony? Was that God again?
That was God again.
Speaking to me?
Yeah, Ross is saying dump him in the chat.
Ross is saying dump him in the chat. Okay, well, listen, I'm a little more patient than Ross about these kinds of things. Some things he said to dump Lamar Jackson in football. So I love Ross, but he's got a quick trigger finger, even faster than me, which is saying something. That's amazing. Okay, listen, if you guys are out there watching and you haven't already, click subscribe, ring the bell. Yes, ring the bell. That's what you do with a bell, right? Yeah, and you click like, you ring the bell for notifications. That's what I was trying to remember. And put your comments below. I want to hear from you. Okay, so Ross was saying to dump Nurkic. I'm going to finish this up. I got to look at what he's doing this season a bit more. Bear with me here. Why are his free throws so low? That's one thing that people are probably wondering. Okay, in the last 7 days, he's 3 of 4 from the line. It's such a small sample size, you can't really tell. But I'm going to go to the game log quickly and see what we can find out here. His minutes are definitely down, but he's still grabbing like over 6 rebounds a game. He's scoring over 10. No way you trade him. He's gonna come back up. I'm not worried about him based on the numbers. I would trade for him, actually. In fact, after this is done, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, let's see. What else do we have in the chat? Hey, Ross the Boss is excited for me. Thanks, man. All right. Is Brook Lopez or Mo Wagner, or as the Germans call him, Mo Wagner, and he is German, the better pickup for Thomas Bryant? For those of you who don't know, Thomas Bryant tore his ACL. We certainly give him our sympathies. That sucks. He is a really good player too. So for the teams who lost him, that sucks. I will say this. I haven't checked out the numbers, and this really does happen. You're focused on your team and the waiver wire. A guy like Brook Lopez was owned and not on my team. I'll go through teams and see who do I need to trade for, but mostly when I have a need. Right now, I actually do have a need because I need blocks. So looking at Brook Lopez would be a good idea, but I have to say, I don't know what he's been doing. So let's see. Now we look at the mystery of why Brook Lopez is so much better than Robin Lopez usually. I'm just curious. I need to see if Robin Lopez has been. Yes, he's so much worse than Brook Lopez. They're twins. That must feel.
Get really 2 new comments. Purple coming back. What's a trade you would do for Damian Lillard?
No, Lillard. God,
sorry.
don't you know? Damian Lillard is a child of yours, and you don't even know his name. All right.
Yeah, I fail at being God.
Well, listen. I mean, the God Anthony is relatively new. So purple. First of all, Damian Lillard is a guy that I would trade most people for. But I just want to make sure there's nothing going on with him this season that I'm not aware of. Oh my God, my autocorrect changed it to Millard. I would not trade any of these people. Stop it. I don't want Millard. Stop it. Okay. Damian Lillard, he's ranked 27th. He's totally being himself. 26.1 points per game, 6.4 assists, 4.9 rebounds, 0.8 steals, a 912 free throw percentage, 438 field. I mean, I had Damian Lillard last year, and I love the guy. So who are some players that I would trade for him? He's ranked 8th overall preseason, 27th overall in season average, season total. He is 22nd, very similar. Just going to check the last 14 days to see how's he been doing. Is there some reason someone's trying to sell him? No, he's 22 there also. Last 7 days, 8. Okay, I'm not worried about him in the slightest. So what I do with a guy like Damian Lillard, then I'm going to answer Kel's 22 question. What do you do with RJ Barrett? It depends on what he wants to do, but we'll get to you on that in a second. All right. Where were we? Damian Lillard, then RJ Barrett. Okay, so I look at my player list, and I'm going to go to all players, not all available players, because you're looking at players that are owned. You're never going to trade Damian Lillard for some guy who is floating on the wire, of course, or some back-end guy. So Karl Anthony Towns, that's a guy that I would definitely trade. Or wait, I forget. Are we trading for Damian Lillard or are we trying to trade him? Was that in the chat? Let me go see. Somebody said Lillard's value is down. Good time to trade for him. Absolutely. Anytime Lillard's value is down, you want to trade for him. What's a trade you would do for Damian Lillard was the question. Okay, well, I mean, look, I would be so tempted to try to get somebody to take Kyrie Irving for Damian Lillard in some form. Obviously, you can't do that straight up, but you could do like Kyrie Irving plus, let's see, who? Kyrie Irving plus Chris Middleton for Damian Lillard. I would totally do that. No, it's not your bad. It was my bad. I just was focusing on too much. I had started to think about RJ Barrett. Not your problem. Thank you, Purple. You're very considerate. So I would trade, a guy like Malcolm Brogdon, I was very high on him going into this year. He's ranked 6th. If you can get some kind of package deal for Brogdon and someone else, then, oh no, you say you are trying to trade him. Oh, sorry. Now listen, I will never say it's your bad, but I was confused there. So sorry about that. You're trying to trade Lillard. You're trying to give him away. Oh my God. He says Purple says he's trying to give him away. All right. Well, listen, if you want to try to give him away, I don't particularly agree with that, but I would go after Karl Anthony Towns. Don't go after CJ McCollum. He is overrated. He's not going to keep that up. Don't go after a guy like Miles Turner. I own him, but he's not going to do that. Yeah. All right. Purple says he hasn't been doing enough. What have you done for me lately, Damian? Somebody picked up Michael Porter Jr. on the waiver wire. Good pickup or no? I'll get to that soon, Al. All right. So I'd trade him for Curry. That's not a bad trade. Kawhi Leonard, I would definitely try to get him. Ooh. Luka Doncic, somebody said is not playing it like an MVP. Should I trade for him? If you could trade Damian Lillard for Luka Doncic, I could see doing that. I'm not saying I would do it, but that's a guy I would do. Harden also just hasn't totally been himself. I know people are worried about him with COVID and that sort of thing. Okay, I got to move on to RJ Barrett. Purple, if I didn't answer your question, get back to me. Okay, RJ Barrett, what do you do with him? Generally, people play basketball with him. As far as I know. Why are you not searching, computer? What is your problem? All right, fine. We're going to reload this screen. So RJ Barrett, one thing I'll say about RJ Barrett, he's a second-year player. I like second-year players better. He's owned by Phil from New Jersey in my league. That is a guy who someone said I looked like, and I was not flattered. He looked like Dan Fouts, and I didn't like that. All right, RJ Barrett, 233. What do you do with this guy? Ooh, he's scoring 16 points a game. He's got good rebounds. He's got good steals, but his percentages are just horrible. Let's see if they've gotten better lately, because maybe he's about to turn it around. Wow, his field goal percentage is 343 in the last 14 days. Is he getting any better? In the last 7 days, it's 303. He's in a serious funk. You know what RJ Barrett's problem is? He's on the Knicks. They don't know how to develop players. Guys, put your comments below. I want to make sure that if you are enjoying this, you're putting your comments. If you're not enjoying this, silence. Okay. What do you do with RJ Barrett? I think you try to trade him. First, try to trade him. If you won't get a trade straight up, then I would try a 2-for-1 deal. This is one of my favorite things to do. You take 2 of your players and you get the best one in the deal, because then the other player you pick up on the wire is better and you're doing much better overall. Okay, now we're getting to Al's question. Al Fraser picked up Michael J. Fox. Don't pick him up. He's a great actor, but not a good player. Michael Porter Jr. on the waiver wire, good pickup or no? I'm a Cavs fan, but Michael Porter Jr. plays for Denver. I was thinking of Kevin Porter Jr. I blew that one. Michael Porter Jr. season average 5. Okay, so he must have just started playing. This guy is a very talented guy, we know. Let's see what his game log looks like. He played in 4 games and then he was out. It's funny when you just don't pay attention to players that just weren't on your team. But he was scoring huge before. So let's see. What's the news update on him? Oh, to be quarantined once again. Health and safety protocols. Shams Charania. I don't know if I said that right, reports. So I'm going to have to look a little more into this, Al. Give me 1 second because I don't have my answer for you yet. Give me a second. I got to see, what did he do last year? Last year, Michael Porter Jr. was better than Michael Porter Sr., but he wasn't that good. But he didn't get a lot of minutes. So far this season, he was starting to get minutes, I think. Okay. Yeah, he's starting to get minutes. I think he's a very solid pickup. He's also injured, so you can just stash him on your injured list if you have those positions. But I will say this, if you don't have an injured list, I really would cut bait. It's a good pickup, but you got to move on in head-to-head leagues if you've got an injured player who's not playing. Lauren's asking, is DeAndre Ayton, why can't I pronounce that name, a buy low candidate? Well, I'm going to guess that he is, because you wouldn't ask that question. You're a very smart person. And he's ranked 87th, but he's ranked preseason 19th. So we're expecting him to do more. So is he a buy low candidate? By definition, yes. But what Lauren's really asking, because I know she's smart, is he a good buy low candidate? So let's take a look at what's happening. Last 14 days, DeAndre Ayton ranks 43 overall. He's killing it on rebounds. He's got good blocks. So the answer is already yes. But now I'm going to go through and figure out, is he like a serious buy low candidate? Like, okay, in the last 7 days, he hasn't been that great. His minutes are there. Let's see what he's done. Last 30 days will probably be what he's been for the season. No, a little bit better. 63. I think he's a great buy low candidate. Last year, let's see what he did last year. Last year, as a rookie, he ranked 128th. I want to say this. That's actually, that's very impressive for a rookie. In fantasy basketball, you usually don't see a lot of rookie value that actually plays out throughout the year. And one of the reasons is that he just blocks a lot of shots. He was also getting a lot of minutes per game. And I just like the chances of a player like that to emerge in their second or third year. So buy low candidate, yes. Do you want to buy him low for Damian Lillard like we were talking before? No. Ross, is Chris Paul over the hill or should I trade for him? This is an interesting question because the answer to both sides of that question is yes. Chris Paul, when it comes to a basketball player, is over the hill and you should trade for him. But I own Chris Paul in the league that Ross plays in. So come and get him, Ross. Come and get him. I see another question. Is James Wiseman a bust? I wouldn't call James Wiseman a bust because he was not. I called James Wiseman a sleeper that didn't pan out. But in terms of would you keep him, I think you probably want to get rid of him. Let's see. CJ McCollum is tearing it up in Portland. Yes, he is. But he's a great player, but he'll probably end up ranked in the top maybe 25. I don't see him keeping it up. But listen, it happens. Oh, Hassan Whiteside is terrible. Discuss. This was another question from Lauren. Lauren, are you asking if he's terrible at basketball or some other form? I don't know. Elaborate. You can let me know. Why is my computer giving me alerts now? Are you kidding me? No. Yes, I'm going to restart right now. Are you kidding me? Jesus Christ. No, I'm not restarting now. All right. Lillard's value down. Good time to trade for him. Yes. All right. Purple. Welcome back. I have DeMar DeRozan. Should I give him away? All right. Purple. Let's get away from the idea of giving anyone away. You want to use all of your value. But let's see why you're saying this. DeMar DeRozan. He's ranked 25th overall. Now, I don't usually like players on the Spurs, but DeMar DeRozan is a very he's a different player. He's the kind of guy who can succeed even in San Antonio, much like LaMarcus Aldridge used to be. So no, definitely don't give him away. But I think if you can get a top 25 player for DeMar DeRozan, I think DeRozan's probably going to sink some. So what I would do is go to all players and find the rankings and say, if you could turn DeMar DeRozan into Kawhi Leonard by throwing in injured Kyrie Irving or something like that, you might do something like that. You just get a little upgrade. Okay. Blake Griffin done, or should I trade for him for a box of donuts? Save your donuts. Save your donuts. Blake Griffin, when it comes to fantasy player, is done. Guys, if I'm missing anything, just pray to God and Anthony will tell me if I've missed anyone. And but put them in the comments as well. And Anthony, I haven't heard from Anthony in a while, so either
I'm right here, man. I'm always watching. Remember?
Oh man, I was walking. I was walking on the beach, and it was just one set of footsteps, and I was like, "Where's Anthony?" And then Anthony said, "I was carrying you." Okay.
I wanted to give a shout out to Kells and Purple for chatting up a storm.
Kells and Purple. You talked up a storm. Al Fraser, you got in there.
Al Fraser.
Thank you for who?
Don't forget to subscribe. Remember that. Remember that message, Dan.
Yep. Well, that's true. I said put things in comments, but I did not say to subscribe. So just so we don't think that I'm sending mixed signals, I do want you to subscribe. I totally do, but I'm also not going to beg you. That's beneath me. Okay. Somebody's interested in your donuts, Ross. So you can, that's the owner of Blake Griffin. That's why. Okay. Jimmy Butler is a huge bust. Do you think I should trade for him? Wow. Well, let's see. Jimmy Butler. The Butler did it. Huge bust. He's ranked 29th overall. Did I just say huge bust? Sorry about that. Family show, I guess. Don't know. I see. Season total 97. So what, is he sitting out a lot? He's injured. Let's see. Expected to miss the next week of action due to health and safety protocols. Why? Is there something going on? Okay, we know what's going on. So listen, I would say absolutely you trade for Jimmy Butler. The question is what? So I think you go to the owner and you say, look, he's ranked 97th. He's been underperforming. And let's look at how he's been doing the last 14 days. 105. That owner is going to start to get antsy. He's like, I invested a lot in Jimmy Butler, but in the last 7 days, he's ranked 43rd. I wouldn't overpay for him. But who is Mas Macho, Jack Lord or LeBron James? I'm going to get to that question in a second. But I would say, yes, you probably do want to trade for Jimmy Butler, but you don't want to trade down for Jimmy Butler. You don't want to take Kawhi Leonard and say, oh, I'm going to bet on Jimmy Butler. A lot of times these people do end up just underperforming in a given year. And a COVID year throws things even more into question, I think. Let's see. So who is, Ross, is this what you meant? Who is Mas Macho, Jack Lord, or LeBron James? So you mean who is more macho? More Spanish macho. Jack Lord or LeBron James? Well, I'm going to do a little bit of research here to find out. Give me a second. Jack Lord.
While you're doing that research, Dan, are you going to be doing these Q&As often?
Yes, we do these Q&As every week on Tuesdays. But it's because the Lord commandeth us to. And right. So we'll do it, right? Right, Anthony? I mean, that was part of the pact.
That's it.
We have a covenant. The covenant is I believe in you. What?
It may not always be you either, correct?
It may not always be me. I will pray to God that it can often be me, but Anthony, only you know. So we'll see. Jack Lord, pretty damn macho. But I will say this, a little before my time. So I would say, like, if you wanted to say like Harrison Ford or LeBron James, I'm going to go Harrison Ford is more macho, but LeBron James is a badass. Listen, remember in the NBA Finals when LeBron was behind the podium or behind the table, and he got really pissed off at Mark Stein, and then he like chewed him out and was like, "Be better." And you were like, "Yeah." This was after LeBron broke his hand because he had just played that great game, and they called that garbage charge with Kevin Durant. Oh no, they called it a blocking foul. It should have been a charge. And he got up and he was wearing a suit, but he had shorts on, like suit shorts on, and like a briefcase. He looked insane. And that dude can pull off anything. LeBron is a great hero of mine. Jack Lord, I'm sorry you lose that. You might be more macho, but that's not necessarily a good thing. LeBron, he's a sensitive soul, and I like that about him. Now, Ross said afterwards, he is awful. I don't know what that means. Then he says, this is just a comment. I love comments like this. COVID. He just says, COVID. I don't know what that means. Please elaborate. Casey, how do you feel about one-trick ponies a la Duncan Robinson? Well, I'll tell you what. We're going to search. We'll see if there's any ponies in here. No, there's no pony comes up. But Duncan Robinson, when I look him up, he's definitely kind of a one-trick pony. He's got 3.1 three-pointers made. So that's his one trick. He's going to hit a lot of threes. I'll tell you why I like one-trick ponies. They're cheap, and they're great for the back end of your roster. And I especially like them in head-to-head leagues. If you can get through to the playoffs, and then you've got a couple one-trick ponies, you got a three-point shooter, you got a steals specialist, block specialist. By the way, those are the one-trick ponies. You have to go with threes, steals, or blocks. You want to get your rebounds built into a good player, or even assists to a good player overall. But those three stats, you can get a one-trick pony, and I would have one of them on my roster no matter what. Probably two, because they're cheap, good value. Duncan Robinson, actually, as much as I love him as a like heroic figure, I believe he's been slipping. Let's check this out. Last 14 days. What has he done? 23s in the last 14 days. And, of course, that's the main thing I'm looking at is how are his threes. And his shooting percentage, if his shooting percentage is dipping lower and lower, wow, he got a lot of minutes per game, though. My God. He's only had 33s in the last 30 days. Now, let's put that in perspective. Give me one sec. Okay, in the last 30 days, I'm going to go with all players, and I'm going to click on the number of threes people have made. CJ McCollum's leading the league with 49 of them. Now, he's not a one-trick pony, of course, but let's see. Who is? Tim Hardaway Jr. He's on my team. 35 three-pointers in the same amount of time. And how does he rank compared to Duncan Robinson? Duncan Robinson, it just reminds me of Dunkin' Donuts. I've got donuts on the mind. Let's see. Oh, Butler being out hurts him. Good point. All right, so remember team context. So I think Duncan Robinson's a great player to have. He's a cheap guy to have, but you can get guys like Joe Harris who are going to do similar things. So I'm not particularly hung up on him. If I could trade Duncan, I'm always doing 2-for-1 trades. You can ask anybody, including me. Ask me. I'll tell you. Okay, we've got a question. Trae Young for James Harden. Well, I'm going to take the James Harden side of that deal. I love Trae Young, but let's see how he's doing. I know he had been doing not that well. He's underperforming. I think he's a buy low candidate, but I would not trade James Harden for him. If you're going to trade James Harden for Trae Young, you should be getting somebody else too. And I still don't even like that trade for you. Do not trade James Harden. Okay, Lauren, what do you think of Jared Vanderbilt? Worth a flyer in 14 team leagues or keep on the wire? Lauren's always going really deep dive. I love it. Wait, I just tried to search Lauren. You're not in here. That's funny. Jared Vanderbilt. A player I know who he is. Not liking the stats I'm seeing so far, Lauren. Hold on. Last 14 days. I think you can do better even in a 14-team league. But hold on. Let's not be rash. Let's see. Give me 1 second. I have one more question to answer. Yeah, I'm not really liking what I'm seeing. I'm going to check one more thing. I lied. I was going to say I was going to stop. Yeah, his minutes per game are way too low. When it comes to fantasy basketball, you really want the minutes to be there. I'm going to pause one more time to ask people who are watching, if you haven't already done so, please click subscribe, hit like, ring the bell, shout to your friends, let them know to come here, and they'll have the time of their lives. I mean, we have God here. What are you doing? You're not even going to hang out with Anthony, the God? And put your comments below. All right, let's see if we have other questions, and I want to see if I missed any. I don't think I did. Maybe I should put a question in myself.
You got a new one from Kells22. Did you cover
Kells22,
RJ Barrett?
You're back. Awesome. Did you cover RJ Barrett? Sorry, I missed it. Okay, so I did. RJ Barrett is a great second-year NBA player. But as a fantasy player, I don't see him getting the job done enough. I'm going to look back at it one more time since you missed it and it was your question. The problem is the shooting percentages. Let me just review again if they're looking up. They are not particularly looking up. He's hit a real cold streak. He's shooting 30%, and he's only hit 1 3. His rebounds are low. So, I mean, it's not that I don't like the player, and he could be really good next year, but I think you probably want to move on from Barrett. Okay, Nicholas Batum, the Frenchman for the Clippers, and waive Wiseman for him? Absolutely. Okay, Batum, I believe it was 2 seasons ago. He was great. He historically has been very good. Okay, Kells is asking, do I drop Barrett in a 12-team league? I think you do. I really think you do. I mean, look, it's not – Barrett is getting 36 minutes a game, so there is value there. I don't want to lead you astray and say that he's just bad. He could develop. If you let's say you're doing well in the league, that's a time where maybe I keep Barrett, see if he develops into something. But you don't want to have more than one spot like that because it'll really hurt you. And if you need something, don't be afraid to cut him. He's a second-year player. A lot of times second-year players don't emerge. The Knicks are not a particularly good team at getting players to emerge. Batum, I think, definitely waive Wiseman for Batum. But Batum, meanwhile, he's probably vastly overperforming. He's gonna come back down. But if we look at what he's been doing lately, he's the 25th overall player in the last 14 days. Over the last 30 days, he's the 29th ranked player. He's got 14 steals in that time, which is a lot for steals. He hits some threes. He's great from free throw percentage. He's good on field goals, but I'm going to look at his career stats. This is one of the times where I'm going to look at career stats and see what has he done in his career. I mean, first of all, he's always a good steals guy. The last 2 years, not as much, but he really has been good. Wait a minute. What am I looking at here? What are the points? So listen, he's going to get you like maybe 5 or 6 rebounds a game, 10 points. He's going to steal at least once a game. He's going to hit a 3, and his numbers are pretty good. So that's underrated, and I think he seems like he's back. Another question. Zion is playing okay. Good time to trade for him. I thought Zion was going to be a bust all year. We're going to take 1 or 2 more questions before we wrap up. Hold on. Okay. For anybody who is watching, because we are going to wrap up shortly, if you didn't get your question answered, or you simply just like the question and answers and you want to come back, please do. We want you to come back. Keep the questions coming, but keep them coming in the comments also, because this is something I will do. I'll come back to the comments. I answer them myself. If you have questions, I'll get right to them. And that includes questions we already covered. If we talked about RJ Barrett, Kells 22. If you want to know more about it, let's have a debate about it. Zion. Let's answer Zion. And then we'll get to this guy who's in a league with a bunch of idiots. I think he's talking about me. Should I feel guilty after a trade with them? And they have nothing left. Don't leave, he says. Gotta love him. Ross asks, does this include medical questions? I am a very good psychologist. And so if you want to ask questions, you can do that. I mean, I would encourage you to go to my website or my YouTube page, Crushing Doubt, which is for my therapy side of things. But hey, if you want to ask me medical questions on MFSN, that's fine. I'll answer them with a little sports twist. Now, I'm going to answer Zion, and then we're going to wrap up. Okay, Zion Williamson, 149 season average. Wow, scoring all right. Ross, I got to say, he's surprising me a little bit. And I should say this. Listen, I understand he's a great athlete, so I understand why people are high on him. His numbers are depressed a little bit because his free throw percentage sucks. So here's the time that I oh, thanks, Ross. You said I'm one of the best in the business. And then you asked if I could prescribe drugs to you. I can't, but, I have a feeling you can hook yourself up there. Zion is a guy that you could, if you're punting free throws, pick up, and he could be of better value. But he doesn't hit threes. He doesn't block. So I wouldn't pay much for him. All right, guys. This was so much fun. Really looking forward to doing more of it. Again, click subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. Hit like, put your comments below. And we will be back here every Tuesday night, same time. Sometimes it will be me. You are welcome for the help. Thank you for the shout out, Lauren. And it was a pleasure talking fantasy basketball with you all. Keep the questions coming.
Yeah. From Q Cliff, the #1 clean energy drink in the mind of Joe Rogan, comes the Flamin' Joe. Sugar-free, B vitamins, electrolytes, all them good drink things. An epic spicy pineapple fusion from out of this world, straight into your drink hole. Own it. QCliff.com.